like confetti in a windstorm.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is Story to Screen. I am one of your hosts, Prana Songbird, and today our interviewer, Mark Allen Lanoue, the Gemini Mind, will be interviewing someone pretty special, Bumblefoot. That's right, I said it. Mark Allen Lanoue will be interviewing Bumblefoot of Guns N' Roses, video game music, movies. If you've heard guitar playing, you've heard Bumblefoot. So come on in and listen to that interview.
Hey, all you friends, fans, and freaks. This is Mark Allen Lanoue, the Gemini Mind, in affiliation with Story to Screen and Starfish Foundation. You can find the Starfish Foundation at wearestarfish.org. That's wearestarfish.org. And today we have an awesome guest, which I will have to say that I'm a big fan of, and he's a wonderful human being, and he has quite the background to go through. So anyway, with no further ado, this is Bumblefoot.
How you doing?
Another day in paradise. That's what they keep telling me, and it just seems to be the same stuff, different stuff that you're dealing with, but just another day.
So this is paradise, huh? I pictured it different.
Yeah.
Less traffic.
I think there's multiple iterations of paradise for depending on the person, right? So first of all, a lot of people know about, Guns N' Roses and Sons of Apollo and those kind of things. But I have to say that I was really happy to finally meet you in person. It's we've been talking back and forth for a really long time, so it was really nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, it was a cool hang. And an interesting little spot we found, too.
Yeah, well, you found that. Shut up and eat breakfast, right?
Yeah. All the servers are wearing pajamas, and there's just stuff all over the walls, and it's just a typical, New Jersey diner type place.
Yeah.
For breakfast at 4 a.m. after a gig.
Well, that or Waffle House, right? That's where we'd end up at Waffle House. Or in the 90s, it was Denny's, right? You had to go get the $1.99 Grand Slam from Denny's after you got off the tour bus or the tour van.
Yeah, so Staten Island, we would do Perkins. That's where we would go.
Oh,
Perkins
yeah.
on Forest Avenue. After playing all the clubs in the 80s and bar hopping and doing everything that we did.
No diners, just the...
Sometimes we would hit a diner, but usually it was that place Perkins, which is pretty much a diner. It just wasn't a chain of them. It wasn't like IHOP or anything like that.
Yeah, sure. So
maybe there's a chain.
So give the fans, there's a lot that know who you are, but give the fans a bit of a background on you. And then we can...
Okay, let's see. Solo artist, producer. I was one of the lead guitar players in Guns N' Roses for those Chinese democracy years, 2006 to 2014. I fronted the band Asia in 2019. I was the guitarist of Sons of Apollo. It's a was kind of thing. What else? There's an offshoot of that band called Whom Gods Destroy that I did with Derek Sherinian, the keyboardist of Sons of Apollo, and Dino Jalusic. What else? What have I done? I'm not sure. What have I done? I do music for TV shows and video games and little horror movies. A lot of teaching. I love teaching. Yeah, lots of producing. I love working with up-and-coming bands, starting up bands, and just helping them get out there. Yeah. So just a whole lot of musical stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And I play guitar.
Well, personally, being a guitar player and a vocalist, I will say that you are very underrated. You're a hell of a guitar player, so I will have to give you kudos. But I don't think you get enough accolades for that. I don't think enough people are talking about your playing because it's really, really great playing, man.
Thank you. I mean, I don't tour that much, and I tend to avoid the attention seeking, which is probably why I love producing so much, because you're invisible. You're behind the scenes. It's about amplifying the personality, the identity of the artist. And if you're doing that, then you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And It's not about you. No one should hear you in the music.
Absolutely. That's admirable. And you bring up a good point, because I do the same thing when I write. I always bring the attention to the people that are playing with me, because collectively is what really makes that sound and brings everything to where it should be. So,
Oh yeah,
they-
growing up on music, 60s, 70s music was all about bands, and each one had such personality, and each member brought so much to it. Like there was nobody in any of the great bands that was irrelevant, unimportant. Like they all were this contributing part of the sound that made that band sound like it did. And when you grow up with that, and yeah, that's just what you seek out, unless you're just a total narcissistic fuck.
and we've met our share of those, haven't we?
Oh yeah, don't get me started. Yes, the band destroyers. Yes, narcissistic members that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I remember in 2020, you had the planetary lockdown, and I know that later on you recorded that as well, and that was derived out of you were on tour with Sons of Apollo at the time in Europe, and so it was really cool that you took that and you gave other guitar players the ability to come on there, other players to have the ability to come on there and kind of improv and play their parts with you. So I thought that was pretty cool. I see a bunch of people out there that posted about it, but that was a really cool lick too. So tell us a little bit more about, the origin of that whole thing with Planetary Lockdown. The name is obvious, right? Why you, but if you go a little bit further into it.
So we were writing for the second Sons of Apollo album and just throwing ideas into the hat, and that riff was one of the ideas. And as we were putting the album together, and we had more than enough music for it, so held that one back and just saved it for a rainy day. And in 2020, we're touring Europe. We got 20 shows to do. After 4 shows, the world is shutting down from the pandemic, and we had to just race back home, and we're just alone in the studio. So first thing I did is I took that song and I finished it up. And in the heat of it all, I just called it Planetary Lockdown and finished up the song and put it out there as just a digital single. And then what I did is I just made this video where I play the main riff, and then the section where there's soloing, I left it open, and then back to the riff, and just did this little thing, just put it out there and told people, play to it, add your solo, make a video of it, and I'll share it. And ended up being over 500 people, I think it was, or like around 500 people. And it was not just guitar players, but bassists and singers wrote lyrics, and horn players and violin and drummers, and everybody was checking out everybody's stuff. And it was a great way for us all in the music world to stay connected and to get to know each other, have that opportunity where we're not so wrapped up in our own thing on that runaway hamster wheel that we're all on, that was suddenly stopped for us. It's kind of nice. In a weird way, 2020, with all the craziness going on, I don't know if I've ever felt such a sense of peace.
Sure.
I think it was just being, not just, can't do anything else. Can't tour, can't do just, I'm in the studio. All I could do is be alone and be creative, and find ways from this seat to still connect with people through the internet. And I realized how much touring depresses me. It was probably the first time in I don't know how long that I just wasn't miserably depressed in my core, that I was just sort of trying to just keep suppressed. And that's when I started realizing, you know what, I need to just spend more time being creative and less time just living out of a suitcase, ungrounded, disconnected from my life and the people in it that are close to me. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So you're probably a lot like me. I like being more personally connected with people. And when you put it in the perspective of touring, it's that part in between before you get on the stage and all the things that happen and the killing of that creative spirit because you're so busy trying to prepare for the next show and all that kind of stuff. So I completely understand what you're saying. It kind of kills that creative spirit and it takes away that personal touch between not just the musicians, but the people who may be listening to it. Right. So
I could never be creative while on tour. It was really tough. Only once I was. It was during the last GNR tour. And I, already knew, like I was, I told people I was leaving and all. And I was working on the Little Brother Is Watching album that came out in 2015. And writing for that, it was the only time I was able to ever write an album while being on tour. Yeah. But normally it's your focus is not on being creative, which takes a sort of introspective internalization and focusing inward. When you're on tour, it's all about outward. Your focus, you are there, you exist for everybody else. And that is why you're traveling. That's why you're performing. That's why you're doing everything is for everybody, which is great. But it's just hard to create when your purpose at that point is simply just, I am here for all of you, not anything else. Yeah.
Sure. So, but do you see a difference though when like you're doing the clinics, because those are probably a bit more personal, right? A little closer connected to the people that are there. Do you prefer the clinics or?
I do. I prefer things that are personal. When I feel like I'm in the same room with everybody, you could play a huge show on a huge stage and feel very alone because even your bandmates, you're not banging into each other. You can't slap the hands of people in front of you. You don't see people's eyes. And when you're just playing like this, just gritty bar, or you're doing a clinic or something like that, where you could interact more and it's more personal, I like that better. I know a lot of people that do too. They feel the same way. They feel this lonely disconnect on giant stages. And you feel the togetherness and the connection in smaller places and just anything where you could talk to people. And that's always what I remember most about a show, is not being on stage, not the show itself. It's the interactions before and after and all those little things that happen.
Sure. Yeah. I would agree with you. I used to have to come from behind the barricades when I used to tour and go out and meet people. I have to go sit with the fans and kind of talk with them. Now, when you get to the bigger venues, obviously it's hard to do. But when you're in more of the medium, small settings, it's.
I used to do the same. I would do the same thing, even like on the first GNR tour. It just felt unnatural to disappear after a show. I would sneak out the back where there would be like people hanging out, like waiting to get things signed or whatever, and I would just chat with them, and I would do that like throughout that first tour because it was just such a mind fuck compared to what I was used to, which was interacting before, after, sometimes during the shows, and not doing that. Yeah.
Sure, I completely understand. Well, talking about the whole lockdown thing and the perspective between touring and creative spirit, we're going to take a moment here so you can hear Planetary Lockdown by my Bumblefoot. So stay tuned for more of the interview with an amazing and talented individual. So just hang on. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here with Bumblefoot, the amazing, talented individual who says he can't sing, but I've heard him sing. He sings pretty well, man. And being a vocalist, he's better than he puts out to be. So, put you on the spot, there, Bumblefoot.
I cackle.
So you have. It seems that you also have something. There's a name here, and I wanted to talk about this a little bit because I really dig some of the stuff I was listening to. I went back and listened some more to your catalog, and was really digging some of the earlier stuff as well. And I know there was a song that was brought up when we were in the Shut Up and Eat Breakfast place with Sharon from Ladies Who Rock for Cause. She apparently had a mutual friend with you. And I have to say, I don't remember the name. And I'm probably going to butcher this. I thought it was Sam, but maybe I'm wrong.
Howie.
There you go. You had a mutual. So
Howie from Staten Island. Yeah.
Yeah, Staten Island Howie. So, but yeah, that was pretty awesome. It just shows how small this world is, and then just what we were talking about, that personal touch. It's nice to kind of connect with people that have that 6 degrees of perspective in the circle of friends. So,
in the music world is 1 degree.
Yeah, 1 degree.
Everybody's 1 degree away.
Everybody's 1 degree. That's right. But you had so you had something called Moonshine Hootenanny. I love these names, man. So you got to tell me a bit more about the origin of this particular thing.
Last year I had this wonderful experience. I made all these good friends down in Louisiana, doing a like little hot sauce event down there. Oh, that's the other thing I didn't mention. Yes, so I have my own line of hot sauces. I've had a hot sauce business for about 12, 13 years now. And so I was pushing some hot sauce at this cool restaurant and just loved it down there. And after it, we went back to this dude Craig, this amazing guitar player down there, went to his house and we all just jammed until like early in the morning, like 2, 3 in the morning, I think it was. And made this incredible jambalaya. And just, it was such a delicious experience for music and food, my 2 favorite things. And actually food and music, if we're going to go in order. And so during the pandemic, when I was writing the new album, the Bumblefoot Returns, and I was just writing random songs, just whatever happens, it inspires a song. And I remember one day I came home from the studio and saw something on TV about it was a documentary of old blues players, and I started watching, and there was this dude Lonnie Johnson playing this rhythm, boom cha chaka chaka boom cha chaka chaka boom, and I immediately got inspired, and I just grabbed my guitar off the couch and started playing this riff. It just came out of me out of nowhere. Just, you know how it is, like you feel something and you just say it in music. And it just yeah, and I turned it into a song. I went to the studio the next day, recorded that riff, and then just said, all right, now what should happen next? I should stop, and there should just be some kind of fretless guitar riff in there, and then back to it, and then to the 4 chord, and then the 4 and the 5, and then some sort of little phrase, like a hooky little thing. And the song just built itself. At the time, I was also writing the Whom Gods Destroy album, which had a lot of prog metal, weird off time, kind of strange, dragging, low riffs to it. And being in that mindset, when it was time to hit a change for the song, felt like it just needed something different there, and suddenly it just breaks into something like that, and the song just goes in all these other directions and comes back and does what a song does. It takes you on a ride, takes you on a trip, and just feeling out the song. Like, what does the song make me think of? It makes me think of, just like the good time I had in Louisiana, like a good hootenanny, and with alcohol involved. Moonshine hootenanny.
Did you have a hurricane while you were there too? Did you go to Bourbon Street and have yourself a hurricane and maybe some beignets and coffee?
No, I did not. I actually stayed away from the strip and just did our thing, and then went back to a controlled environment and just jammed and ate, and yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Carry on.
It's great down there. I love it.
Yeah.
So, and also I just wanted a name that matches the rhythm. Moonshine hootenanny, moonshine hootenanny, moonshine hootenanny. So now I am making a hot sauce called Moonshine Hootenanny, something that'll go real nice with Cajun food, and that should be ready pretty soon. And I am editing a music video for the song Moonshine Hootenanny that we just shot last week. And I am in editing hell, trying to do it myself. And you know how it is when you just do it all or try to do it all and do the best you can.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we have to. I end up that's the reason why I had to learn Photoshop and all that kind of stuff, because I had to do it all on my own. Right. So,
yeah. It's out of necessity. We become, we start making album art out of necessity. We learn how to mix and master out of necessity. Learn how to be a tour manager out of necessity. Learn how to edit videos out of necessity. Everything is out of necessity. Yes. Absolutely.
And you're talking about food. So as you may know, I lived on the Gulf Coast for many, many years, where I met my lovely second half, Lisa. But loved it down there. Loved the Louisiana spirit over there. It was really great. And of course, they would. I remember her saying, "We're not inbred, we're thoroughbreds," because pretty much everybody down there was all like interconnected, right, in some way or shape or form. It was pretty awesome. But they would really come down on you if you put certain things in their gumbo and stuff. So I completely, it had to be a certain way, or it just wasn't right, So
and different. I learned a lot from them, like different neighborhoods, different areas, very specific about the cuisine, what goes in and what doesn't, and how things are done and everything. And it's a very cool part of the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about food as well, I remember you were just in Indonesia, right? Not long ago. And I remember I saw that you posting, we were talking about food. I saw you posting the foods that you had like on stories on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And I was waiting for you to come with the crew pook, man. And I have relatives still in Indonesia. So there's family down there. So that's where my mother's side of the family lived for a number of years. So when you went there, I was like, oh, that's so cool. One of these days I want to get over there. But you went over to the land of my relatives. But that was pretty cool that you got to play with all those cool cats on that. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, it was a great gig. So during the pandemic, a friend of mine reached out and to Derek Sherinian, and I knew him as well. And he is affiliated with this band out there called Dewa 19, which is like the biggest rock band for decades out there. And they wanted to do a collaboration where it was me, Jeff, Mike, and Billy from Sons of Apollo, and Dino Jalusic and Phil X got involved, and all these Western boule, as they would call us, Westerners, and them, and we did these collaborations, these recordings of different songs, and every year or two we would do one. We even did a video for one of them called Love is Blind, and we did the first one was called Human Race, and Simon Phillips would be on drums, and just great stuff. I would do mixing and play guitar, and then they wanted to do shows out in Indonesia. So last year, they did a couple of shows and couldn't make those. But this year, I could. So we did this show in the big stadium, an 85,000-seater in Jakarta. And that one was Derek on keys, and I'm on guitar, and Dino Jalusic on vocals, Billy Sheehan on bass, and his Mr. Big bandmate Eric Martin on vocals, and Gary Sharon of Extreme on vocals, and Steve Vai on guitar. And we had Dewa 19, the whole group, and some great Indonesian artists as well, and everybody just doing all these mishmashes.
So it was a mash thing, basically. Basically, all the kind of melding in all the different songs and stuff. Yeah.
So we did a bunch of Mr. Big songs, Extreme songs, Queen songs, just all kinds of stuff, and Dewa 19 songs, and there'll be different people on different songs. And it was just a blast. And every time we'd finish rehearsal or even the show, we just go up to the rooftop bar and hang out up there and just order tons of satay and gado and everything. The spicier, the better. So, yeah.
Is that when you were up there taking your pictures for your Instagram story?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So
such a nice time out there. And I haven't been out there in a good 6 years. So it was good to get back and see friends that I haven't seen.
Sure. That's really awesome. So what we'll probably do here then is we're going to go and hear from our affiliate, which is Story to Screen, but it's also a Starfish Foundation. And this particular group actually works with youth that are going through crisis. They mentor them, and they kind of also help. That's what this whole thing is about too with Story to Screen. That's where it connects to the other affiliate, is we listen to the lives, the ups and downs of guests that come on here. And it's very positive, because we have people on here like you that have a positive story to tell. And that's awesome. So let's take a few minutes to do that. And we're also going to hear, we're going to see Moonshine Hootenanny as well. And then we'll come back to the amazing Bumblefoot. So just stay tuned. You all rock indeed.
Hey there, changemakers. Imagine a world where every small act creates a ripple of impact. At wearestarfish.org, we're turning dreams of a better tomorrow into reality. Join our global community of starfish, where every person like you is a catalyst for positive change. Whether it's empowering education, environmental stewardship, or supporting local communities, we believe in the power of every individual to make a difference. Visit wearestarfish.org today and discover how you can be a part of the wave of change. Wearestarfish.org, because each one matters.
Switching hotels, changing flights, plans move fast, day or night. No pen, no paper, no app to load. Just scan the tag, your info shows. Update quick, anytime, right from your phone, safe online. One little tag that does it all, ready when adventure calls. Scan and go, travel smart today. My travel tag leads the way. Your bag's connected, clear and true. Peace of mind is traveling with you. Near or far, where life takes you. One simple scan is all you do. Smart, secure, and modern too. My travel tag is made for you. Eco-friendly, built to last. Laser etch for futures fast. School trips, business, family fun. One smart tag for everyone. My travel tag. Scan it once and you're good to go.
All right, guys and gals, we're back here with Bumblefoot. We're gonna talk more about his history, background, some of the places he's gone, and his newest, I must say, this one here. And I have to say, Bumblefoot returns. Make sure we get the echo on there. And I'm gonna have this framed, buddy, and put next to the my Kiss Destroyer album up here. I'm going to have it framed like this and stuck up here. So you'll be next to the area, my old stomping grounds and your current stomping grounds.
Nice.
So actually, before we get into some of the stuff that has to do with the songs, tell us more about the genesis of Bumblefoot Returns, and kind of where that started and how you moved through that, and then how you approach the different guests, because I'm sure you pick them based on the song, right? Because sometimes we write the song around them, or sometimes we look for the song that best suits them, that kind of stuff. So yeah,
the song made the decision, not me.
So the Harry Potter moment, right? It's the wand. It's the wand, Harry. The wand chooses the wizard.
Pretty much. It was that kind of thing. Yeah. So this goes back to, I guess, 1989 was when I got my first legit credible thing. I got a write-up in one of the national guitar magazines, and from that, that was August 89. Guitar player Jeff Healey on the cover. There was the spotlight column written by Mike Varney, who owned Shrapnel Records.
Right.
And sent him a demo, and he gave me a real nice write-up. And so a few people wrote to me. It's like, oh, I'd love to hear your demo. It was back in the days, much different days than now, where like you can have your home address in a national magazine and you don't have to worry too much. The most that'll happen is someone will write you a letter and give you a self-addressed stamped envelope to put a cassette in to share music. So that's what would happen. And this one guy wrote to me, he's like, hi, my name is Guthrie. I'm a guitarist from the UK. I would love to swap demos with you. And we became pen pals, and it was Guthrie Govan. And we would send each other cassettes with handwritten letters and little handwritten transcriptions. Here's what I did at this one riff in that song. It's pretty weird. Check it out. That kind of stuff. And then whenever I would tour through the UK, if he was nearby, he would hop on stage. And when we would go to NAMM, we would just sit on the floor and jam together. And from there, he did pretty well. Yes, he's the guy. He is the guitar guy.
Oh, he's a hell of a guitar player. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. And a great guy. Great guy. So we've known each other, since 1989. And when I was starting to write this album in 2020 and taking songs that I already had, it's like, okay, we'll use those. And the first song that I wrote with the intention of making an album, where I said, all right, I haven't done an instrumental album, and people have asked me, like, hey, would you ever do another instrumental album? Because my very first album that came out in 95 on Shrapnel Records was all instrumental. And I always said, yeah, if I ever have time, maybe I'll do that. Now there was time. So I took that Planetary Lockdown song. It's like, okay, at least I have that song for the album. And I had another song called Cintaku, which means my love in Indonesian, inspired by Indonesia. And it's like, okay, there's 2 songs. Good. And then I started writing. I took a riff that I had since I was 19 in 1989, going back to 89. And it was just a riff that I never did anything with. And it's just been collecting dust on a shelf in my brain for decades. So the first thing I did is I just dusted that off and recorded that riff and just thought of a melody, just kind of sang a melody to myself. And then played it on guitar and then built from there, just kind of keeping the melody, changing the chords underneath. And just letting a song build itself. And I pictured a middle section with a long open area of just that riff and soloing over it. And then I pictured, you know what, it shouldn't just be one long solo. I played enough in the song. It should be a trade-off with somebody. And I was thinking, well, 1989, the beginning of it all. The first guitar friend I made, Guthrie, the first song I'm recording for this album, it all just kind of ties together. So I asked him if he would do a little trading back and forth. And he's like, yeah, sure. So he laid down a couple of spots, and he laid a solo. I put one after him. He did the next section. I did the one after him, and there you go. So there was that. When I was making this song, Monstruoso, I just pictured the old 60s, 70s Japanese horror movies, Mothra, Rodan, Godzilla, all of them. And I just pictured the sound and the soundtrack that could go with one of them now, if there was going to be something like that. And I just wrote that song, just had that. And just a lot of like these dubstep kind of growling keys in there. It just sounded very monstrous, inhuman. And there was one breakdown where things get very clean and the dynamics are down, and then it just punches right back in. And at that punch, I pictured just a crazy guitar solo that sounded like an alien just screaming and barking at you. And the only person that I could think of that could make a guitar sound like an alien that would be suitable was Steve Vai. So I asked Steve, I was like, hey, would you throw it down on this? And he said, sure. And he laid down a solo. And that's how it was for anyone that did anything on there. When I was writing the song, this one, Funeral March. Originally, that was for piano, but as the song was coming together, it just seemed like it needed different instrumentation. And I just pictured this funeral, people just walking with, you can hear their feet crushing into the gravel, the footsteps. And just pictured like this funeral, like this bell and this timpani, boom, 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 ding, boom, boom, going with it. And just like very dark French horns. And yeah, and it needed like a crying violin. So I hit up Ben Karras, the wonderful violinist from Thank You Scientist, great band, and asked him, would you make this song cry? And he did. It was beautiful what he did.
Cool name for a band, by the way. But go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they're just such a great band. Thank You Scientist. That's my recommendation for the podcast. Everyone, go out and listen from beginning to end, everything ever done by Thank You Scientist. And if you get to see them live, good for you. Amazing. So yeah, every guest, it just worked out that way. The main drummer for everything is Kyle Hughes. He has been my drummer for about 10 years now. And met him when he was a teenager playing in, God, I'm having so many brain farts this morning. This is what happened because I didn't have coffee. So my brain is not awake. It's not going to wake up until 1 p.m., my brain. Okay, so it's playing in the UK. And this opening band, they offered to learn all my music and be my backing band for this one show. I was like, yeah, sure. And they did great. They really nailed the stuff. But the drummer, he was this great showman, had backing vocals. He was such a cool kid and just played his ass off. And after that show, I was like, you know what? I want this guy to be my drummer. And he has been ever since. And we've done a lot of touring and recordings. And he's done wonderful things since playing with, he plays now with Evan Stanley, Paul Stanley's son, in a band Amber Wild. He has played with Richie Kotzen doing his solo stuff. So many people. Marco Mendoza for his solo stuff. Graham Bonnet for his solo stuff. Yeah, fantastic drummer. So yeah, so he laid all the crazy drumming on that album, except for one song. My old dear friend Jerry Gaskill from the band King's X, and we always would go out to dinner together and just pig out and talk music and just hang and always said, we got to do something together. We should do a song together. Well, I had this one ballady kind of song with this very Bonham-y pocket to it. Boom, cha, boom, boom, cha. And I was like, if I'm going to have Jerry on any song, this is the song. Would really just show his feel, his sound, his everything. And so I had him on that song. And the song was very melodic, a lot of harmonies. And when it came time for where the first guitar solo would be, all I could picture is Brian May. And I could try and channel his spirit, but it wouldn't be the real thing. So I asked him, I said, would you want to lay down on this? And he said, yeah. And he laid a guitar solo on it. And the last thing I needed to do for the album, everything was waiting on it. The album art was done. It just needed a title for this song. And I had a bunch of titles, and I asked him, I was like, I can't think of the right song, the right title for this song that feels right. And I'm narrowing it down to these. Which one do you think? And he said, Once and Forever. I was like, there we go. That's the title. And that's it. And then, okay, the title is done. Move forward, manufacture. And yeah, so that's pretty much how things happen, is just personal. Yeah, everything is just personal and musical, the way it should be. Yeah. Absolutely.
Hey, thanks for sharing that. And I will bring this up again because everybody can go and get a copy of this. And that should be on your website, right?
It is bumblefoot.com.
That's right. And so
now I should also mention, though, besides bumblefoot.com, Deco Records, they're a great record label. And I've done a lot of things with them over the years. They've had a lot of artists on there that I've done guest solos for. And most recent one is a guy named Hirsch Gardner, who is a fantastic singer, drummer, songwriter, just a great guy. And he was in the band New England. He is in the band New England, which was produced by Paul Stanley. And they opened for Kiss on the Dynasty tour in '79. And that is the first Kiss show I ever saw, the first arena show I ever saw. So really the first band I ever saw at that level was New England. And I absolutely loved them. Like, I heard their songs were just so good. And I ran out the next day and got the album and just played it to death. It's permanently memorized and etched in my head. And I've gone on to become friends with Hirsch in the band. And when he does his solo albums, I guest stuff. So I just did one. So we were doing the promotion, and he's putting it out on Deco Records. He did put it out on Deco Records. And that started leading to conversations with Deco. They said, if you want physical distribution through us for your album, and Amazon, and we're affiliated with Cargo Records in the UK for out there, and they were just such cool guys that just care about music. They do. They just love giving opportunities and getting ears to listen to things that, yeah, they're just a great label. So yeah, and we've become not just, like a business thing, but we're friends. We are absolutely friends, good friends. And I get together with Bruce, the president of the company. We hang out and eat bagels, and he makes cappuccino, and we just hang out for hours and hours, just listening to music and just chatting, and just such wonderful guys. Yeah, and Charlie, he works closely with the band Angel and does a lot of stuff with them. And yeah, and they're part of the whole Deco team. So the album is also out through Deco Records. If you go to a record store and you say, yes, I'm looking for the Bumblefoot Returns album, they'll probably say, well, we don't have it in stock, but we can get it for you. And thanks to Deco Records. And now I have almost like a label imprint through Deco, where the bands that I produce, all these bands that are just starting out, putting out their first albums, they get distribution now through Deco. And Deco is like so happy to be supporting bands that normally they wouldn't get these opportunities. And it's only a company like Deco that would give them those opportunities. Yeah, so I can't say enough good things about that label. Absolutely. That's awesome. There's a band, Shavrock, that put out their debut album. They're like Daughtry Creed type stuff, but with a foundation of acoustic and harmony vocals. But also on top of that, they were inspired by like the Scorpions and Guns N' Roses. So all the guitar solo work on the album has these like harmony guitar solos that are very melodic and bluesy melodic. Great stuff, great guitar work, and just great storytelling. Fantastic lyrics. A really, really good album people should check out. So that's my other recommendation, Shavrock. Shavrock, Shavrock, because their last name, they're two brothers, and their last name is Shavrik. And they were told, you should call the band Shavrock. So they did. So Shavrock, Hope Found Me is the name of the album. And there's another band called the Dodies, Dodies. They just put out their third album, and that's on Deco Records. And they sound like they're inspired by Nirvana and Radiohead, like a lot of 90s grunge and that deep, tortured soul, musically just, not just going to the typical places, yet it works. Yeah. Really interesting stuff. Great stuff. So that's my next recommendation. Yeah.
So you're bringing me down memory lane when you talk. I'm starting to bring back my past. It's like with Angel, and then I start thinking about Studio One and the show place and all these different escapades and
all the Jersey spots.
Yeah. I started to think about all that when you start to talk. So that's pretty awesome. Like Greg Giuffria is actually from the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Oh, nice.
But he obviously was an Angel for that period of time. Yeah. That's awesome. And I appreciate you sharing all that. And also talking about different songs, Bumblefoot did play a fantastic solo on a song for me, which was written for my wife who passed away in April. And it's got some really smoking players on it as well. Kit Wakely, two-time Grammy winner. It's got a drummer that plays with me in Fiction 6 and Kick the Wicked, Roy Fashion. And of course, Scott Campbell, Kick the Wicked. And it's got Sharon Leah, who you just met, who's plays
she's wonderful.
She's plays some strings and stuff on there, but your solo came out fantastic. So I appreciate you doing that, sir. It was
Thank you. It was
really awesome.
An honor to be on such a special song. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that, man. And talking about Once in Forever, we're going to take a commercial break before we get back to Bumblefoot. And after that commercial break, we're going to play this awesome tune with the legendary Brian May. And we'll get back to you here shortly. Hey, all my friends, fans, and freaks. We're back here with Bumblefoot, and I'm going to open up the floor so that he can tell you a bit more about where you can go to get his cool stuff. Again, like, you got to say it, like, we got to echo it.
Bumblefoot, return!
All right, so after you tell everybody about where they can get everything, where they can go, I know you've covered a lot, but if there's anything that you'd like to cover at this point, or anybody that you want to point at and say whatever you need to, this is the spot.
So I guess the first thing is, who are the freaks? Is it fans, freaks?
I allow them to just permeate throughout. It's okay to be a freak as long as you're a good freak.
They make the world colorful. Absolutely. God bless the freaks. I speak as one of them. So you go to bumblefoot.com, and that's where you could find all the goodies and information and stuff, and of course social media. Pretty much anything Bumblefoot as the handle. If it's X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, any of the newer things like Threads, and TikTok. Had to do it, avoided it for years, and actually that one Bumblefoot was taken already. So Bumblefoot official on TikTok. But that is pretty much it. So if you go to decoentertainment.com, you could get all the bands I told you about and lots more great music. And so there you go.
Pretty awesome. I do appreciate you going down memory lane and sharing all the cool stuff, including the hot sauce and the different different players and different songs and the stories behind them. That's pretty awesome. So really looking forward to hanging out with you again. Hopefully that happens in the near future, and maybe we can collaborate and play more on some stuff in the future. But
more music, more food.
Yeah, more food. And I'm really digging the stuff that you're doing. I have to say, you're talking about Dino, a heck of a vocalist. Being a vocalist myself, as you are, you know when somebody's got it. And I say kid because he's a lot younger than. So
he's closer to half our age than our age.
He's got it. Really talented kid. So
and he's great. He's just he's a really good dude.
Yeah. So everybody, go out and get Bumblefoot's album. Go out and check out his past collection. See what else going on with him and Deco Records and the bands that he's producing. Really great guy, really talented, and he's a good friend. So until further ado, you all rock. Indeed.
Remember, what we do here goes in support of wearestarfish.org, because each one matters. Until next time, take care, all.
Like